everybody. It is 5:30, so it's time for us to get started. I'm hoping that the sound is functional on my end and on your end. I'm getting good thumbs up, so I think that's a go. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. It is Monday night, so it must be OLLI yoga night. If you're new to class, welcome. I'm really glad that you're here. My name is Amanda McIntire, and this is the beginning yoga class through OLLI. And for those of you who are regular students, welcome back. I miss you, and I'm glad that you're here tonight. Special thanks to OLLI and Continuing and Distance Education for providing this free opportunity for you to tune in and take some yoga. That's a pretty amazing offering. OLLI has lots of great programming. Do feel free to spread the word, share this link with your friends and family. We will continue to do this through the summer, so I'm really glad you're here. I'm hoping that you're in a space that is safe so that you can extend your arms without, knocking over a lamp or that sort of thing. I'm hoping that you have some sort of a yoga or a fitness mat, and if not, then a blanket or a towel that you can use. If you have yoga blocks, that would be a great idea, but if you don't have them, not a problem. But I am a strong proponent of yoga blocks, and so if you don't have some, you might want to think about getting yourself a pair. They're pretty great. This class is about you. So it's up to you to decide, where are you at tonight? So I'm asking that you use your own body wisdom. You know what your body's feeling like. You know what you did today. If you need to go a little bit deeper, go deeper into the practice. Take that goddess pose a little bit further. And if you need to be backing off of stuff because your hip is bothering you, you did a lot today, or you just need to give yourself a break, that's perfect too. You're in control. I'm just offering up some yoga ideas and some guidance, and you get to decide how that works for you. And if you decide that it's time for Shavasana, which is our last posture, like right now, you can do that too. It's totally your practice. It's a big deal that you took this time to do this. So do what it is that you need to do. So yeah, be kind. I'm glad that you're here. One of the things I was thinking about as I was putting this class together is that usually like around Memorial Day, I usually teach a yoga class that is all about how to manage your body when you're gardening and doing landscaping. And the reason I teach that class is that usually I have injured myself doing some sort of gardening or landscaping, and I assume this may be a relatable experience, and so I teach a class about all these different things related to, your hips and whatnot when you're doing gardening. I've taught this class for many years and have not gotten to the point until this year where I haven't actually hurt my body gardening. See, here's why. Clearly, I'm a little bit of an intense, kind of excitable person. And I love gardening. Like, I love it. I love getting in the dirt. I love growing stuff. But I have a really busy life. And so in the pre-COVID world, when it came time to garden planting, it was like this event, but it was like a one-time event. Like, get the plants, the weather better be right, till the soil, plant the everything, and I would do it all in one shot. Like, 6 hours in the garden, boom, it's all done. Whew. And then the next day, the next week, my body is paying for it, but my garden is done, I'm not worried about it anymore. This year, we're in a new world, right? We're in this new, we were forced into this sort of new existence. Lucky me, I still have my garden plot. I'm a community gardener in Burlington. And this year, I decided to take it piece by piece. And so I am still very slowly putting my garden in. I've been going almost every day and just doing a little bit and a little bit. And what I've been finding in doing that is not only is that much kinder to my body on the other end, but I'm finding so much more joy in the process. I'm finding that I'm becoming more creative in my planting. I'm more mindful and present as I'm doing it. I feel like I'm making better choices than I did before. And I'm feeling like I'm creating this more solid foundation for having this garden be something even better than I ever thought that it could be. Just because I started taking it piece by piece. we're living in this world that suddenly got turned upside down on us that can be really overwhelming, sort of like I let my silly garden get to me, right? But all of a sudden we're thrown into a world where we have to use online means to go to yoga classes or figure out new ways to interact with our friends, new ways to do our work. You know, what are we going to do if we love to do things that aren't possible in this moment, right? And sometimes that can be a lot. And a lot of those things we can't take piece by piece because it is all coming at us at once. But there are certain things that we can, like my garden, like the yoga practice, like whatever house project maybe it is that you're working on. There are those certain things that we can just take little bit by little bit. And although I'm usually talking about letting go of things, sometimes it's okay to take a little bit of control of things. And just little bit by little bit, chipping away at it, building to reaching your goal. So cool that we're here practicing yoga tonight, because this yoga gives us the opportunity to build piece by piece. Whether it's you're building your own home yoga studio by figuring out what kind of blocks it is that you want to buy, whether it's figuring out the pieces to your home practice. What are all the postures that go into a sun salutation? Maybe I'll get 3 of them down and work from there. Or maybe it's really just figuring out how to get your body into a particular posture in a way that really works well for you by building up from the ground. So we're going to work on that tonight, piece by piece. The thing that's so awesome about that is that there's no pressure. There's never any pressure in this class, but I'm making it really clear that especially tonight, there's definitely no pressure. We're just doing one thing at a time, and we're all just doing the best that we can. That's all that we can ask. So give yourself credit for being here. I'm really glad you made this choice tonight. And we're just going to take it piece by piece. And hopefully in doing that, maybe you'll find a little bit of peace. So with that, find a seat and sit up nice and tall. What does that look like? That's not building piece by piece. Me telling you to just go and sit up nice and tall is sort of like me taking my garden and just plunking it into the ground in 6 hours. It can be done, but there are actually foundational building blocks that can make it an even more positive and more present experience. So we're going to do that. We're going to first find whatever it is that works best for you to sit on. I'm presently sitting on a block, but I'm going to actually remove it tonight because I know that'll be more comfortable for me. You can sit on the floor, on a block, or on a blanket. Whatever you're sitting on, make sure that the weight is evenly distributed between both of your hips and that your sits bones are rooted down into the block, into the blanket, whatever it is. And I find it helpful to actually just pull the fleshy part away from my sits bones and broaden my hips to get more of a solid base. So we start with that foundation, that first piece, hips connected to whatever you're sitting on. From there, you decide what to do with your legs. I'm choosing to have my legs crossed because that's comfortable for me. You may find that it's more preferable to extend your legs straight out, or to bend the knees, placing the feet flat on the floor and the knees pointed up, or some variation thereof. Feel free to play around with that for that next building block in this seat, making sure that your hips stay rooted. So we've got rooted hips. We have the legs in some sort of a position that is as comfortable as you can be, sitting this low to the ground. Pull your belly in just a little bit and tuck the ribs ever so slightly to get some engagement through the core. Plant your hands on your knees or thighs and sit up nice and tall. And to do that, think of extending the crown of your head, which is the very tippy top point of your scalp. Extend that up towards the ceiling as you let the shoulders relax. And that might be more of an energetic kind of an idea than an actual movement, but maybe you got some movement there. Close your eyes or bring them to a soft gaze. Just gently bring your shoulders up by your ears and then let the shoulder blades relax down on your back while you're still rooted through the hips and extending through the crown of your head. And then notice yourself here in this seat. taken piece by piece. And just notice if there's a difference here from just your normal finding a seated position. And maybe not. Maybe this feels exactly like the way that you regularly sit, and that's totally perfect. That's great. You might also find that this seat feels a little bit more present, a little bit more intentional. When we give this individual focus to each little piece and then put them together, it can have a synergistic effect. Begin to connect with your breath here, still sitting up nice and tall. Do your best to quiet your mind as your body stills. And then bring your palms together in prayer position in front of your heart, still sitting up nice and tall. We're going to begin our practice tonight by chanting the sound of Om together, the sound of oneness. And Om actually has 4 different pieces to it. Ah, oo, and then silence. Ah, oo, silence. So if you want to try that out, the 4 syllables of Om tonight, we're going to chant it just one time. Sit up nice and tall. Take a full exhale. And a deep inhale for Om. Release your hands and gently let your eyes flutter open as you let all those different pieces of Om sink in. Keep sitting up nice and tall in this seat that you've created for yourself. And we're going to take the right hand and just gently place it, the fingertips on the floor directly behind you. And this is like a kickstand, so it's just directly behind the tailbone, just maybe like 5 inches behind on the floor. The left hand is going to go on the opposite leg, and if your legs aren't crossed, that's okay. They can be straight out in front of you. Your hips stay rooted to the ground. As you inhale, you sit up a little bit taller. As you exhale, twist a little bit further to the right. You're using your left hand for a little extra push, and the right hand behind you to help you sit up tall. Take a couple of full breaths here. And remember, anytime that you are struggling for breath, you should back out of the posture a little bit so you can really breathe freely. On your exhale, unwind to center and over to the other side. Left fingertips come to the floor behind you to help prop you up, to sit up tall. Right hand to the opposite leg. As you inhale, you're sitting up taller and longer. And then as you exhale, gently twist to the left. The twist coming from the lowest part of the spine, with your head being the very last part to move. When we set up our twists with each individual piece following the next, we're creating protection for the low back, really maximizing the effects of the posture. As you exhale, gently unwind back to center. Plant your left palm on the floor, and as you inhale, sweep your right arm up overhead and turn your head to take a look down at the left hand. So have lots of space between your ears and shoulders. Keep your left hand grounded. And then from here, keep everything just as it is and turn just your head so that you're looking straight ahead towards me. Nice. Now you can stay here, or if your neck allows, you can turn your head. We're still keeping everything like it is. We're turning just the head, getting some motion in the neck to look up at your lifted right hand. Are you breathing? Are you still sitting up tall and present in your seat? Exhale your way through center. Bring your right hand to the floor. Reach your left arm overhead for the other side. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Take a look down at that right hand. Keep lots of space between your ears and your shoulders. Maintain all that and then turn just your head to look straight ahead towards me. And then you can either stay there or join me in taking a look up towards the lifted hand. As you exhale, make your way back to center, sitting up nice and tall. Come on to all fours in a tabletop position. And here, if you need to cushion your knees by folding your blanket or your mat, do that. But we're lining up the hips over the knees and the shoulders over the wrists. Bring your awareness to your tailbone. So we're going to be going into cat-cow. And cat-cow is this motion with the spine. But it's most effective if we take it piece by piece. So your awareness comes to the tailbone. As you inhale, you're going to stick your tailbone up and drop the belly. And then drop the chest and take a look up towards the ceiling for cow pose. As you exhale, you're going to tuck the tailbone, start to round the low back, round the middle back, press into the hands, press the shoulders up towards the ceiling, and tuck the chin for cat pose. We'll take that again, piece by piece. As you inhale, stick the tailbone up, drop the belly, let the chest drop, and begin to lift the gaze. As you exhale, tuck the tailbone as you pull the belly button in. Start to round the low back, round the shoulders, tuck the chin. And then just do a couple more of these in your own time and in your own breath, piece by piece, starting from the tailbone, envisioning that you're moving each individual vertebra along the back, moving like a wave from the tailbone up to the neck, the tailbone up to the neck. After your next exhale, come back to a neutral spine, flat back. Step your right foot forward to a low lunge. And come on up so you're standing on the back knee, hands are on your hips. And again, adjust if you need to. Make sure you take care of that back knee especially. Make sure that your feet, your front foot and your knee is about almost mat width apart. Nice and strong in the belly. As you exhale, gently shift the weight in the hips forward. We're opening up through this left quad and hip flexor. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Inhale and float the arms up as you take a look up, breathing, using your breath anywhere that you're feeling tightness. As you exhale, gently release your fingertips back down towards the floor. And then we're going to switch sides. So bring your right knee back to meet the left. Step the left foot forward and find all the different pieces to make this posture really steady and stable for you. Front knee over the front ankle. Back knee is connected to the floor. Your knee and foot are almost mat width apart. Bring your hands to your hips. Nice. And then as you exhale, shift the weight in the hips forward. So notice I'm keeping my torso all in alignment here, just moving all of that weight so that this front knee comes forward a bit. Inhale, float the arms up, take a look up, breathe into anywhere that needs some extra space. Maybe it's the hips, shoulders, low back. Exhale to release your fingertips back down to the floor. Bring your left knee back to meet the right. And find your tabletop once again. Strong and steady, extend your right arm directly out in front of you. Feel your left hand pressing into the mat. Feel your right knee connected to the floor. Your toes are pointed so the tops of your feet are connected to the mat. On an inhale, extend your left leg directly out behind, keeping your hips level, left toes are flexed towards the floor. And really reach through the fingertips as you press through the sole of your foot, creating this nice, long, balanced tabletop position. Bend the lifted knee, and with the right hand, reach behind. Maybe your hand makes a connection to your foot or your pants, maybe not. This is one of those examples of we're building something piece by piece. And so with practice, you may start to feel more steady. The hand may get a little bit closer. But the intention here is to build up to it. So if you're not reaching the foot tonight, no worries. We're going to do this again in another class too. So just stay nice and steady. Keep breathing. Give yourself credit wherever you're at. On an inhale, extend your arm and leg out, nice and long. One more time. Lower your right hand to the floor. Lower your left toes to the floor. That left leg is still straight, so we're not bending the knee underneath. All right, on an inhale, we're going to straighten the right leg and come on up to plank, top of a push-up. We've got the shoulders over the wrists. You're looking out on the floor ahead of your mat, and your core is nice and strong here. So that means your lower belly is pulled in, your tailbone is pointed towards your heels. Maybe you weren't expecting plank pose this early, but maybe this is an idea for you to incorporate a little piece of plank into your home practice. As you exhale, gently lower both knees down to the floor. Take any movements you need to take care of your body. Maybe you need to roll the wrists out or the hips. Nice. Make your way up to tabletop and we'll explore the other side. So get nice and strong here. Feel your hands pressing into the floor, shins pressing into the mat. Extend your left arm directly out in front. And then staying strong in the thighs and in the belly, extend the right leg directly behind, nice and level. Oh, make sure you're breathing here. Lots of space between your ears and shoulders, nice and strong in the belly. And then bend the lifted knee, which is the right knee, and with the left hand, reach behind. See if you can make contact with a toe or your pants. Otherwise, just work in that general direction, staying strong and steady. And if you are able to actually grab a hold of your ankle, for example, if you're doing that, flex that lifted foot to help protect the knee. There is an element of a quad stretch here if you're holding on, so be kind. On an inhale, everyone extend your arm and leg out, nice and long. Excellent. Lower your left hand to the floor. Lower your right toes to the floor so that your right leg is nice and straight. Make your way up to plank, top of a push-up. Shoulders over the wrists, nice straight legs. You're up on your toes. Steady breath. We're trying to have the body in one straight line here. Sometimes that's something that we're working on piece by piece. If you find that you have your hips up a little bit, see if you can get them steady. But I'd rather have your hips be up a little bit too high than have your hips sag down. So do your best to find a happy medium. Give yourself credit for doing this. And then lower your knees, point your toes, and make your way back to child's pose. So knees go wide, big toes are together. You move your hips back towards your heels, keeping your fingertips extended up towards the top of the mat. Keep your hands grounded. And think about moving the hips away from the hands. Inhale and come back up to all fours. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. Walk your knees back a couple of inches. And once again, come on up to plank. This is also called Utthita Chaturanga. Got a nice strong push-up here. Again, shoulders are over the wrists. Feet are about hips distance apart, and you're up on your toes. Keep your hands and feet where they are. Keep pressing them into the mat and shift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. So to do that, you're pressing into the hands, moving the weight back. Bend your knees a little bit and see if maybe you can get your hips up a little bit higher. Pedal the feet out here. And then come to stillness with the legs. Walk your feet up towards your hands so that you're at a forward fold at the top of your mat. Feet are hips distance apart and parallel. We're hinged forward at the hips, and we're trying to straighten the legs as much as we can, but if you need to have a bend in them, definitely go for it. Grab opposite elbows. Let your head relax. So now the crown of your head is pointing towards the floor. And just take some full breaths here in Uttanasana, or forward fold. Release the elbows. Bend your knees, getting your hips underneath you. Press into your feet. As you inhale, you're going to start to straighten the legs. Reach your arms up overhead as you inhale. Connect the palms. Exhale and bring your hands to heart center. Awesome. Nice job. Shake it out a little bit. Get some water if you need to. If you want to use blocks, make sure you have them up at the top of your mat. All right, and let's find yourself in the middle of your mat. And stand up nice and tall. So we're taking things piece by piece, and balance postures are a great way. Balance postures are funny because for some of us, they are very intimidating or very, very frustrating. For others of us, we're like, yes, balancing is so awesome. For the former, this building piece by piece can be really, really helpful in kind of letting go of what needs to be perfect in the posture or where you think you need to go as opposed to where you need to be right now. So find your feet hips distance apart and parallel. Make sure you're standing up nice and tall. Feel your left foot firmly pressing into the floor. See how tall you can get as you start to shift your weight, freeing your right foot as we come into tree pose or vrksasana. And we're going to take the right foot and place it wherever makes sense for you. So that might be against your ankle. If you want to take it to the next piece, you can bring the foot to the inner calf. And if tonight, if you're really rocking it on this left side and you're feeling really balanced, maybe you can even grab the ankle and place the foot on the inner thigh. Wherever you are, though, you're doing great, especially if you're trying your best and giving yourself a break. But make sure you're pressing your foot into the leg into the foot, and bring your palms together in prayer in front of your heart when you find that tree tonight. And then I invite you to close your eyes. What? If you fall out of the posture, you're welcome to try to get back into it or to open your eyes up. Your eyes are closed. Gently open them. Let the knee come forward, release the foot, and shake it out. I just love doing that eye close thing because it just changes everything altogether. So it puts us back on a level playing field. Really great job if you tried it out. Let's see what the other side brings. And remember, there's all these different pieces. So one side might be totally different. You might have your foot on the inner thigh on one side and be on your toes on the other side, or on your toes on both sides. Wherever you're at is you, and that's pretty great. So let's see what the right side of you is like tonight. Feel your right foot firmly pressing into the mat. Stand up nice and tall and strong. Start to shift your weight, freeing the left foot, placing it either against the ankle, the calf, or the inner thigh. Just do your best to avoid the knee. It's so tempting to put the foot on the knee, but we avoid that spot. Press the foot into the leg into the foot, and bring your palms together in prayer in front of your heart once you've found this tree. Remembering trees do sway in the wind. They need to, because otherwise they would break, so it's okay if you're swaying. And then let's see how this goes. See if you can close your eyes for a moment. Notice all the work that your ankle suddenly starts doing. And again, if you fall out of the posture, you're welcome to get back into it or open your eyes. Gently let your eyes flutter open. Whew. Nice work. Lower the foot and shake it out. If that was a really big deal for you to close your eyes, if that felt like that took some bravery on your part, good job. That's awesome. It is very scary to try balancing on one foot and close your eyes. So if that was you, congratulations that you tried it out. I think that's pretty awesome. Okay, so here we go. Let's find ourselves up at the top of our mat. Feet are hips distance apart and parallel, and you're standing up nice and tall and strong. Inhale and float the fingertips up. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and swan dive all the way forward. Bring your fingertips to the floor or to blocks, and step your right foot back to a lunge. And in this lunge, the front knee is lined up over the front ankle. The neck and spine are nice and long and flat. So I'm using my hands on the blocks. Blocks are three-dimensional, which is pretty cool, so you can change what height you'd like them at. Another option is to have your hands on the floor, either palms or have your fingertips more steepled. Keep your weight in your legs. Notice I'm doing gesturing with my hands because I'm staying so strong in my core and in my legs. Nice. All right, piece by piece. Last week we did a flow class, and you can't flow without all the pieces. So I'm going to show you a transition that we do when we flow. You're going to take your back foot and ground it down so it's parallel to the back of your mat. You're going to take your front foot and scoot it over to the right just a little bit so that your heel is aligned with the back arch like we do in Warrior Two. You're going to get super strong in your feet and in your legs. Press into the feet, windmill your arms to come on up to Warrior Two. Whoa! Now hopefully your feet wound up in somewhat of an accurate place, but if not, feel free to adjust. And remember, this is your body. So if you're in this alignment and your heel is aligned with the back arch and you're like, yeah, Amanda, no, that's really bad for my hip. Make an adjustment for something that's not bad for your hip. You are in charge of your destiny here. Stay nice and strong. Keep the shoulders relaxed. This is Warrior Two or Virabhadrasana 2. Your feet are pressing into the floor. Your front knee is pointing towards your second toe, so you're really open through the hips. And then we're going to straighten the front leg. Start to reach forward. The left hand is reaching directly straight ahead. And then we're going to start to tilt down for triangle pose. Left hand comes to the shin, the floor or a block. And the right fingertips reach up towards the sky. Both legs are straight here. Both arms are straight. And you can look down at the floor, at the side wall, or up towards your lifted hand. Again, you're really strong in the legs. So for example, if you're using a block and someone took the block out from underneath you, that shouldn't affect your posture too much, or at least that's a goal that we're working towards. That's one of the pieces. All right, stay nice and strong in your legs. Press into the feet, bend back into the front knee to Warrior Two. Excellent. Hands come to the hips. Kick off the back foot and come on up to the top of the mat. Shake it out a little bit. And then we will try the other side. So, find mountain pose. Inhale and float the arms up. Take a look up. Stay strong in the belly, grounded in the feet. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way forward. All right, this time we're going to step the left foot back to a lunge. Make sure that your feet are hips distance apart. Front knee is over the front ankle. Back heel is lifted and hands are connected to the floor or blocks. So you have a nice long neck. If you're looking down at the floor, try looking straight ahead to find more length in the spine. Excellent. All right, so this is one piece, is getting into the lunge. The next piece is working our way into Warrior Two. So you're going to take the back foot and make it ground down so it's parallel to the back of the mat. Your front foot is going to move over towards the left so that it is in alignment with the middle of the arch. Your feet are pressing into the floor. We're going to come all the way up, windmill the arms to Warrior Two. And in Warrior Two, you're bending into the front knee. The back leg is straight. Your arms are out to a T. And just check it out. Maybe you need to go a little bit deeper and scoot your back foot back a little bit further. Maybe you need to move your right foot more towards the right if this is bothering something in your body. So check in. But there is some effort involved, and this is a hip opener, so a lot going on. Make sure you're breathing. All right, straighten the front leg. Start to reach forward with the right fingertips and then let them drop down to the shin, the floor, or a block. If you use a block, it goes on the pinky toe side of your foot. Shoulders are stacked, legs are straight, and you're either looking at the floor, the side wall, or up towards your lifted hand for Trikonasana or triangle pose. All of these different pieces helps the body find alignment, helps protect from injury, gives you a more solid foundation. All right, strong and steady, press into the feet, come back up to Warrior Two. So bend back into that front knee. Nice. All right, hands come to the hips, kick off the back foot, and come on up to the top of your mat. Again, shake it out a little bit if you need to. All right, really great job. Piece by piece by piece. For some of us, this is like a great revelation. For others of us, it's like, yeah, I always do the building blocks, of course. You can't just like jump ahead. You're gonna hurt yourself or not like it as much. So we're all works in progress, right? Tonight, since we're going piece by piece and because we haven't done it in quite some time, we're gonna explore Ardha Chandrasana, which is balancing half moon pose. So give yourself a break for just a minute because I wanna do a demo of it, and then we're gonna work on it together. A couple of pro tips. If you have a block, please try using a block for Ardha Chandrasana. Highly recommended. Make it much more comfortable for you. Another possibility, which I'll show you, is using something else like a sofa or a chair or that sort of thing. So I'm going to give you a side view of Ardha Chandrasana with the block. You're just watching. I will talk you through it. I mean, if you want to play around, you're welcome to. But check this out. In this pose, we're in sort of like a lunge situation. So feet are wide, and my mat is usually going this direction. We've got the block. Check out where my front foot is. The block is about 12 inches ahead of my foot, and I have it a little bit to the left. So it's not directly aligned with my foot. I'm going to bend into this knee and bring my hand to the block. If I don't have a block, I'm going to bring my fingertips to the floor. If your fingertips don't come to the floor, we'll talk about that in just a second. So, pressing into the front foot, using the floor or the block, you're going to start to shift your weight into the front leg. Notice my back leg. My foot is lifting off the floor. I'm straightening the standing leg. So here's something. This is the beginning of half moon pose. Now tonight you might be working on getting your hand on the block, getting your foot off the floor, or maybe this is really doable for you tonight. If it is, the next piece is to stack the hips. And you'll notice that my lifted foot is flexed. Both my legs are straight. And then the final components are reaching the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then, of course, you can look at the floor, the side wall, or up towards your lifted hand. And again, like if this block was taken out from underneath me, I would probably fall over. But I don't have all my weight poured into it, so just a little bit of balance. And then strong and steady, boop, coming back up. Now, if you don't have a block and you're like, wow, that floor is way too far away, I'm going to just sit this one out. You can totally do that. Or you could find something like a chair, your sofa, an ottoman. Look at how much closer that is than the floor. This is one of the bonuses of practicing at home. So in this circumstance, still same kind of a posture. Oh, my hand goes to the chair, and then I'm working on getting my foot off of the mat, and maybe that could create a nice half moon pose for you tonight. Yogi's choice. So I'm going to use a block, and I'm going to talk you through it. Make sure that you have either the block or whatever you're going to use up towards the top of the mat. And find yourself in mountain pose up at the very top. Stand up nice and tall. Release your arms down by your sides. Close your eyes. Get yourself really present here. You might be totally amped and ready to try this thing out. Or you might be like, oh my gosh, I thought this was the beginning yoga class. But remember, there's no pressure tonight. We're just doing this piece by piece. So enjoy the moment and do what works best for you. Gently open your eyes. And you're going to step your right foot back just for a small step back. So it doesn't have to be this wide lunge like we usually do. Your awareness is impressing the left foot into the floor and bringing your attention to where your left hand is going to go. Notice that I have my block about 12 inches then up and maybe 5 inches over to the outside of the foot. You're going to bend into the front knee. The left hand comes to whatever, the block, the floor, your chair. Start to pour your weight into the front leg, working on straightening it, seeing if you can create space between your back foot and the floor, and flexing that lifted foot for extra engagement and balance. Keep breathing and do whatever makes sense for you. So if you're playing around with getting the foot off the floor, go for it. If you want a little bit more challenge and you're feeling stable, try stacking the hips. You can keep your right hand on your hip or reach the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then you decide if you're looking down at the floor or you want to try shifting the gaze up towards the ceiling. Steady breath, If you fall out of the posture, yogi's choice. Try getting back into it if you want to. And if you're like, yeah, no, I've had enough, that's okay too. Staying strong and steady in the front foot, gently, make your way back to warrior two. Let go of that, shake it out a little bit. Nice job. This is a lot of work. Trying to stand on one leg and figure out how to not fall over is a lot of work. It's a really good job taking each piece in stride. You'll notice I moved my block over to the other side of the mat, if that's possible for you with whatever you're using. I recommend doing that. Find your mountain pose again. Get really grounded and rooted. Just gently step your left foot back, just a small step to give yourself a wider base in this sort of forward trajectory. Feel your right foot pressing into the floor. See where your right hand is going to go. It should be off the mat and up and to the right a bit. Again, remember this block is three-dimensional, so you decide. Begin to pour your weight into the right foot. Right hand comes to the block. See if you can start to straighten the right leg, lifting the left foot off of the floor. Flex the left foot, straightening that leg as much as you can. And if all of these pieces are feeling really steady and you want to go to the next piece, try stacking the hips. Opening up through the chest, maybe even reaching the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. And if you're finding that, that right foot is all over the place, think about pressing into the big toe ball mound of the foot. That'll help you stay rooted. All right, strong and steady in that front foot. Bring the back foot back. Come on up to warrior two. Yes. Nice job. All right, hands come to the hips. Coming up to the top of your mat. Shake it out. Oh my goodness, nice job. And in the spirit of building on things and taking things piece by piece, we will explore that posture again in the future so that you can keep building on it. For those of you who are new to Ardha Chandrasana and new to yoga, that posture might seem absolutely impossible. But I can assure you that it's not, and it's one of those great postures that you can feel your improvement on the more you practice it. So we're going to keep doing that, but that's enough half moon for tonight. So find yourself up at the top of your mat and find mountain pose. Your feet are pressing into the floor. Your legs are active and engaged. You're standing up as tall as your body will let you. I always think mountain pose is another great example, sort of like the seat of, somebody can just tell you to stand up straight, or they can give you all of the different pieces to build into something that's even better, even more you. So feel your feet pressing into the floor, kneecaps lift, belly button is tucked in, shoulders are relaxed. Inhale and float your arms up, take a look up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way forward. Let your head relax, let the shoulders relax. Gently shake your head, yes and no. Plant your hands and walk your way back to downward facing dog. If you need to come to your knees first, that's fine. I know that a lot of you like to go from plank first, which I highly endorse, so you can do that as well. But we're going to all end up in downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. Your hands are spread wide. Wrists are parallel to the front of the mat, and your hands are shoulder width apart or wider. You're actively pressing into the floor, lengthening the spine as you press the hips up and back. It's like you're aiming your hips for that corner where the wall and the ceiling meet behind you. Pedal the feet out here, so alternate bringing each heel a little bit closer to the floor. And then lower your knees, point your toes, and make your way into child's pose. You decide if you want your knees together so that your torso is pressing down on the thighs, or if you want your knees wide so that you can let the torso fall in between the legs. You figure out what feels best in your body right now. Begin to walk your hands in and scoot the hips around so that you're coming to a seat on the mat. And make any adjustments that you need to get yourself comfortable and situated here. Extend your right leg out and bring the sole of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. And then make sure that the weight is even between both your hips. So just like we did in the beginning, it really helps to widen the hips by pulling the fleshy part from the sits bones, really getting broad in the hips. Your right foot is flexed. So is your left foot as it presses into the leg. Your knee may be a variety of places. Your knee might be up here, or your knee might be connected to the floor. If your knee is up here and that's really uncomfortable for you, that can be a nice place to put a block or a pillow or a blanket. Gives you a little bit of extra support. If it doesn't bother you, don't worry about it at all. Stay grounded in the hips, sit up nice and tall, and we're going to turn the torso towards the extended leg. So there's a little bit of a twist going on here. All right, we're building this posture piece by piece. You're sitting up nice and tall. As you inhale, float your arms up overhead. Take a look up towards your fingertips. Shoulders are down on the back. As you exhale, lead with your chest as you hinge forward over the extended leg. Release your hands down to wherever's comfortable for you. So maybe it's the shin, the floor, or the foot. Keep your hips rooted and find lots of space between your ears and shoulders here. So do your best to avoid wanting to reach forward and bring the shoulders up. All right. On an inhale, reach through the fingertips and come all the way up. Torso lifts, fingertips lift. Find a little bit of opening through the chest here. So widen the arms as you look up towards the sky. Still nice and rooted in the hips. As you exhale, we're going to gently twist to the left. So bring your left fingertips behind you like we did at the beginning. Little kickstand there. Right hand is on this opposite bent knee. As you inhale, you sit up nice and tall. As you exhale, twist a little bit deeper if that's a good idea for your body tonight. And if you start to twist and you go, no, not a good idea, back off of it. And if you find that this feels really, really good and you want to go a little deeper and you think that's a good idea, go for it. That's perfect. Your right hand stays connected to the bent knee. As you inhale, we're going to sweep the left arm up overhead. We're reaching towards that extended right foot. We're still rooted through the hips here. Still lots of space between the ears and shoulders. Notice that the instruction is not reach your left hand to your right foot. If you can do that and still have your hips rooted and your shoulders on your back, awesome. But if not, that's not the intention here. We're just building into this and finding some space in the neck. This posture is called Janu Shirshasana, or extended head to knee pose. All right, nice and strong and steady. Inhale to come all the way back up. Nice. And we're going to switch sides. So, left leg extends and the right foot comes in. And notice all of these different little pieces that we put together to create a better experience in the posture. So both feet are flexed. That helps keep some engagement in the legs. Right foot's pressing into the inner thigh. Right knee might be closer to the floor on this side or further away. Make any adjustments that you need to make this feel more solid for you. I'm going to demonstrate the knee in the block situation. Cool. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale and float your arms up overhead. Stay nice and strong in the belly. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And then turn the torso towards the extended leg and leading with the chest as you exhale. Hinge forward, releasing your hands wherever's comfortable here. Nice long neck, nice flat spine. Big breaths here. With each inhale, think about lengthening the spine out of the hips, lengthening the neck out of the shoulders. As you exhale, sink a little bit deeper. On an inhale, reach through your fingertips, bringing your arms up overhead, slowly letting the torso rise up. As we exhale, twist over to the right side. So right fingertips come to the floor behind you. Left hand is on the bent knee. Inhale to sit up tall. Exhale to twist a little bit deeper. Take some full breaths here. Notice all of the pieces put together to make this posture your own. Keep your left hand on the bent knee. As you inhale, sweep the right arm up overhead. We're reaching towards that extended left foot. Both hips are rooted, both shoulders are relaxed. Inhale and rise back up. And we'll extend both legs straight out in front. Bend the knees so that your feet are flat on the floor. And bring your hands behind your thighs so that you're sitting up nice and tall. So having the hands on the thighs helps give you a little bit of extra integrity here. So notice my hands come on my thighs. That helps me sit up a little bit taller and bring my shoulders on my back more. So see if you can try that out. Broad through the collarbones. And then get strong in the belly. So pull the lower abdominals in, tuck the ribs, nice and strong. Begin to shift your weight back more towards your tailbone as we work our way into Navasana or boat pose. And begin by coming up on your big toes if you're able to. So heels are lifted, we're just on the toes, so there's just a little bit of holding or a lot of holding depending on where you're at tonight. And then see if maybe you can get your right foot off of the floor. Maybe shin can come to parallel as you keep sitting up nice and tall. Lower that right toe back down and lift the left leg up. Lower the left toe back down and start to lift the right back up so that the shins are parallel. And this might be plenty for you tonight, but if you want to move into Navasana or boat pose, see if you can get your left foot off of the floor, bringing the shins to parallel, having that balance between flexing and pointing in the feet. Make sure that you're breathing here, staying as relaxed as you can in the shoulders, calm in your eyes. Remember, you can come out of this posture at any point. And if you want an extra challenge, you can free your hands from behind the thighs and extend your arms up ahead of you overhead. So I've got a little bit of a diagonal going on here, like I'm holding a beach ball or something in between my hands. Notice my legs are still parallel. Feet are flexed. And if you're starting to get a little trembling going on, we call that the sacred shake. Good job. Means you're working it. All right. On an exhale, cross your legs, release your fingertips to the floor, and sit up nice and tall. All right. Extend both legs straight out in front of you for Dandasana or staff pose. And if you need a little slight bend in the backs of the knees, that's fine. I'm hoping that maybe you're a little bit more opened up as we're getting towards the end of our time together. Bring your fingertips on to the floor on either side of your hips and sit up nice and tall. Think about that posture we did at the very beginning where we're sitting up in this very proud, very deliberate seat. Hips are rooted, fingertips are connected to the floor. Crown of the head lifts. Inhale to float the arms up. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and lead with the chest as you fold forward. Let your hands connect wherever is comfortable for you, whether it's your shins or your toes. I like having my hands connected to the floor here. On an inhale, reach through your fingertips and come all the way up. Exhale and lower your hands back down to the floor. Nice. All right, scoot your way up to the top of your mat. So knees are bent, toes are right up at the very top. And then make your way down onto your back, however is most comfortable for you. And we're going to keep the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor. Feet are hips distance apart. Knees are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Your arms are down by your sides with your palms face down. Walk your feet in towards your body a bit, like you're trying to reach to have your fingertips touch the backs of your heels. And your hands may connect to your heels, they may not. It's more the idea of get your feet closer to the body. Feel your feet rooted, so press the soles of the feet into the floor. Engage your thighs here. Nice and strong in the legs, in the glutes, in the feet. Press into the feet and slowly start to lift your hips up off of the ground for bridge pose or Setu Bandhasana. Keep looking up towards the ceiling, so do not move your head. Just look straight up as you lift the hips, pressing into the feet. Do your best to keep both knees pointing straight up towards the ceiling. It helps to engage your inner thighs in order to do that. Sometimes the knees want to splay out. On an exhale, gently, vertebra by vertebra, lower your spine and hips back down to the floor. Once your tailbone connects, bring your knees in towards your chest, hug them in, and gently rock from side to side or front to back, whatever feels good here. Lower your feet back down to the floor once again, setting up for bridge pose. Arms are down by your sides with the palms of the floor on the floor face down. Strong and steady in the feet, in the hips, in the core. Press into the feet as you lift the hips up for bridge pose. And this might be plenty, or if you'd like a little added challenge, if you're feeling pretty open in the upper body, you can try rolling your outer upper arms underneath you, clasping your hands underneath the body. That might take a little bit of scooting, but if you do that, think about pressing your knuckles towards your heels to really get open through the chest while still being strong in the legs and in the glutes, lifting the hips up off the floor. And if you've tried clasping your hands and you're like, ooh, that doesn't feel so good, feel free to unclasp them. If your hands are clasped, unclasp, and gently, everyone lower down to the floor, vertebra by vertebra. Once your hips connect to the mat, hug your knees in towards your chest and gently rock from side to side or front to back. Lower your feet down to the floor and then bring your feet to the edges of the mat, letting your knees just relax in on one another for this reclined posture. Arms are down by your sides with your palms face up. And there should be really no effort in the lower body here because the legs are just relaxing on each other. This posture is always an option for our final posture of Shavasana. From here, heel-toe your feet together. Bring the soles of the feet together and let your knees go wide. This is called reclined bound ankle pose or Supta Baddha Konasana. And this is also another option for our final resting posture. And much like when we were in that extended head to knee pose, your knees may be close to the floor or they may be very far away from the floor. You decide if some extra stability under your knees might make you feel more comfortable. You could put some blocks underneath them for a little added support. I find that to be really relaxing through the hips personally. So this is another Shavasana option. And from here, we're going to move into our final resting posture of Shavasana. You can take the previous posture with the knees together. You can stay right where we are here with the feet together and the knees wide. Or you can take a traditional Shavasana by extending your legs straight out on the mat and then bringing your feet to mat width apart. Let your feet relax off to the sides. Gently bring your shoulders down on your back and your arms down by your sides with your palms face up. Close your eyes or bring them to a soft gaze. And just let yourself enjoy this final resting posture, this firm support of the floor beneath you. And the culmination of putting together all of these pieces today to get you to this final place of rest. So just take it in and enjoy it, because there's no more effort in your practice. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. And bring some movement back into your toes and your fingers. As you inhale, reach your arms up overhead and extend your legs out nice and long, taking this piece by piece so you can really enjoy the effects of your Shavasana. Reach through the fingertips, extend out through the toes. And then bring your knees in towards your chest as you roll onto your right side. Using as little effort as possible, make your way up to a seat, rooting down through the hips, placing the legs wherever is best for you, sitting up nice and tall. And close your eyes in this seat and bring your palms together in prayer in front of your heart. I hope that tonight you have found some benefit in taking things bit by bit, piece by piece. As I mentioned, there are a lot of things that we can't do that with, especially now. But there are a lot of little things in our lives that we can either enjoy a little bit more, get a little bit better at, be a little bit more mindful of. So play around with this idea of finding peace by taking things piece by piece off the mat and into your world. We're going to close by chanting Om, A, U, M, and then a silent final syllable. We'll just do it one time. Take a full exhale. And a deep inhale for Om. The light in me honors and acknowledges the light in each of you with great respect. Namaste. Really great job. Thanks so much for showing up tonight and giving it your best effort, little bit by little bit. I look forward to practicing with you next time. Be well.